Hey guys, welcome back to our kit review series. This week we're going to take a look at the recently reissued Sunbeam Tiger by Round2 under an AMT boxing. As you see in the shine there, the shrink is still on this one, so I haven't even had a chance to open it up yet. This is a requested kit review, so we're going to go ahead and do this first. Before we do anything else that trips my trigger with the stuff. The price on this was $22. Now I buy from a guy who sells it wholesale plus 40%. So you're likely going to find this in like a $27, $28 range, more than likely, unless you also get it from someplace like Tower Hobbies or you have a local kit distributor who does a lot of kit sales at model contests and model shows, which is what my guy does. If you're actually, in the southwestern Pennsylvania through, I would say, like Ohio, Detroit, maybe Kentucky, Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia area, there's a good chance you've met my kit vendor guy. I actually think he's down at IPMS Nats this weekend. But this is just a really cool car, just from what it represents. Sunbeam only made this car for a grand total of, I guess, technically be 4 model years. They made it from 64 through 67. The last of the 67s were built with a 289 Ford in them. This one is a Mark 1 or a first gen. It comes with a 260 Ford. There's lots of history behind this as far as how this car came about, involving Carroll Shelby. Chrysler owned Roots, which is the manufacturer of Sunbeam at the end, so there actually were a few Sunbeam Tigers that were sold with Chrysler logos on them, with no mention of the fact they had Ford power and stuff like that. There were 4,000 Sunbeams built altogether, give or take. Most of them were the Gen 1. They only built like 400 or so, no, 700 or so of the Gen 2s. And so we're going to take a peek at this and see what's all in it. We will grade on a curve, if you want to say, just because this is a vintage kit, and so it's not really fair to grade it on a new kit thing of being cutting edge and stuff like that. What we're going to look for in here is, do the parts look good, flash, mold wear, mold misalignments, a lot of seams where there shouldn't be, that sort of thing. What the new decals look like, and all that sort of thing. And so anyway, we'll spin the camera around to our overhead view, and we'll be right back. Take a look at the Round2 AMT Sunbeam Tiger. Alright guys, so we flipped the camera around to our neutral background here. This kit is molded in sort of a little bit of an off-white, so hopefully it'll be a little easier to show than a pure white. One thing I wanted to mention that I have forgotten to mention in several videos now is that we have expanded the social media platform footprint of this channel. And of course, everybody knows that you can, of course, see us on YouTube, and we have our Facebook group, The Stash Project. We also have, obviously, a Google Plus presence, because there was a point in time when YouTube forced you to have a Google Plus presence. So we still have, basically, it's my personal Google Plus page. It just says The Stash Project on it because it was attached to the YouTube channel. I don't do anything with Google Plus, honestly. I just share it with a few groups in Google Plus, which I'm pretty sure have all migrated to Facebook at this point. I know the Styrene Syndicate has a much larger Facebook presence than it does Google Plus presence at this point. Ever since YouTube was sort of split from Google Plus, nobody really uses Google Plus anymore, but we still share the videos over there for the people who use that. And of course, we share our videos like kit reviews and the weekly show and the monthly show on the Stash Project's Facebook page, as well as the Styrene Syndicate's Facebook page. But we wanted to expand a little bit more into more instant social media. So the Stash Project has now opened a Twitter page as well as an Instagram page. I had a personal Instagram that I really never got a chance to use all that much, but I still like the platform. And I've never really been a Twitter user, but I wanted to create something a little more, able to have feedback on a quicker basis. So you will be able to follow us. We're just at the Stash Project. on Twitter and Instagram. That's how you find us. It's all one word because you can't split words on either one of those platforms. Instagram will pretty much just be pictures here and there of various things. I just upload a picture on Instagram saying that we're going to tape this kit review, and then I do some other artsy-fartsy pictures of stuff here and there. It'll also be where I share work of my own, what I'm working on my workbench and whatnot. And then the Twitter account, which of course will be posting all the videos to the Twitter as well, will be more of a day-to-day type of thing. When the Ebro kits were put up for pre-order, we tweeted that out. As kits come in over the month, like the new Revell kits and the Aoshima Hurricane and stuff like that, the day that they come out, we'll of course tweet that hey, the kits are out today. There will still, of course, always be the Friday show, but like I said, we'll make it a little more instantaneous for everything. I already tell half the people I know that watch it that the stuff that goes on day to day anyway, so let's just make it so everybody can see. Anyway, to the actual kit here. This, of course, if you've forgotten over the blathering of the last several minutes, is the new reissue of the Sunbeam Tiger, an older kit, obviously. Looking at some of the shtick from round 2, you get a mini box with this reissue. It is basically a cardboard little piece of paper here with some folding instructions that will allow you to make I don't know, maybe a 1/72nd scale box of the kit box. It is effectively the exact same thing as the box. It just all of the box art is here, except obviously that the real box doesn't have a giant AMT logo on the bottom. It has a parts runner layout. So I don't know. It's cool just because, but I don't know. There's also, if you notice, there is a collector number on here, meaning that hey, you could collect all the mini boxes. Hey, great, just what we need. The another sort of hoarding project for people who like older model kits, right? These are the decals, the decals here. Oops, it's a little too far down. You have a series of pre-printed round rolls, if you will, and then over here on this side these ones are just white, and then they just give you a number of looks like 3 sets of numbers here to fill in. The joke here has been made already by other people that apparently round 2, when they made this decal sheets, could not afford 8, 9s, or 0s. You notice there go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's it repeatedly. You get some stripes for the body here in 3 different colors: black, white, and red. I don't know how well it'll translate into the video, but there's a little bit of a texture to the decals. I don't know if that's there to sort of give them a matte look or not, or they're just that the wax paper they stuck to it and has now sort of marked up these decals. And then you have the same sort of things for the rockers. These obviously sort of a center stripe that run down the hood, trunk, and the deck lid. You also get a few little logos here and there. Down here are some Sunbeam logos wrapped around an AMT logo. There's a "Can't Tame This Tiger" thing. There's a the AMT Cool Cat there. Sort of a "Get 'em Tiger" logo here. Some "Powered by Ford" stickers that decals that might be able to go into something else if you don't want to do them here. Some shout outs to some people there whose names you probably recognize if you know your magazine builders. Some Goodyear logos, some Michigan antique plates, and then those little stickers on the back there for Great Britain and the U.S. So a nice decal sheet, no doubt about that. Although it would be nicer if round 2 would start, if not doing scripts. I know there's a mixed opinion on scripts and logos and stuff like that on decal sheets. Some people claim they're too one-dimensional. It's one of those things of but a lot of people don't really have the time, the patience, or the skill to paint the molded on logos, if you will, all the scripting and stuff like that that's molded in on a kit like this. Trying to do the Sunbeam logo on the front, it's going to be very difficult with bare metal full, because as you're going to see, this is not a very big car if you've never seen one of these in real life. So I don't know. It's just one of those deals where I think that you're going to pay for the cartograph decals, you might as well go ahead and you know, put at least gauge decals on there, because there are no gauge decals either. So here's your instruction sheet. It's an itty bitty tiny little thing. I mean, literally, here it is folded. It's almost as small as the decal sheet itself is. You got the box art here on the front, which it seems to be pretty much what Round2 is doing anymore. And then on this side of it is your color chart. A lot of colors here for really what is not a lot of parts when you get into this kit. You've got colors into, using the entire alphabet here, and then going into actual AA and BB. And like I said, let's take a look at the actual instructions here. And you're going to see there's really not that much to this kit. I mean, this is it. It's sort of a bifold, and there's a back page to it. Up here, you're building your engine. It's a very basic engine, a two-piece split block, oil pan front cover, two-cylinder has a manifold. Over here you got your valve covers, your carb, and your air cleaner, your distributor, an alternator with a free floating there, because obviously there's not going to be a bracket on a kit as old as this. Some exhaust and a fan. Your interior is really, what, 6 pieces, because you got 2 seats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. Okay, well, call me a liar. It's 8 pieces. But, again, here, it's an old 1960s, or maybe 1970s, I think this was a Lesney era tooling. It's not very much. Obviously, your door panels are molded into the tub, and your wheels and your steering wheel, all that, the only thing is separate, sort of a throwback to that sort of era. And then down here, you're taking the firewall, mounting it to the interior, and taking it onto the chassis, which is great, because now we're going to assemble the chassis. I think, guys, probably a better idea is to do all of this first and then do this, because as you notice up here is your front suspension here. A little oddity is this engine mount that has to glue to the basically the they're calling it the upper suspension, but it's really the lower A arm. I guess technically that's the upper A arms. If you do not glue this, I imagine you can make the front wheels turn. I mean, there's no tie rod connecting them, but they're, you may be able to sandwich this between the kit body itself and the A-frame. Over here, you're building your rear suspension, which is, again, a couple piece of fare. Here, you have a custom leaf spring and a stock leaf spring. This obviously for the drag racing or road racing setup. And then you have your exhaust installation, your rear brake drums, your drive shaft, and your radiator and radiator hose. There is the option here to have side pipes if you want to put out the racing version of this. And then you flip over onto the back here, and we're really almost done. It's either stock or custom wheel assembly, your rear assembly, so it's your lights and your gas cap, back bumper, and whether or not you'll put this giant deck spoiler on it. And then you come up front here, and optional road flares, the optional front air dam, your stock installation pieces, your hood. This is do not cement, but I don't think this is actually hinged, so it's just going to sit there. Your windshield, which has vent windows. Hopefully that'll fit. Your folded convertible, or a sort of a Targa bar. Notice there is no up top here, so if you want to build an up top, you're going to have to make your own. Alrighty, let's get into the actual kit as we dig back through the box here. Transferred everything out of one box into another one so that it would be easier to display things. So let's go through the chrome tree. Chrome runner, mine has a little bit of a warp to it here. You notice this, that's flat, that's flat, this is not flat. There's a big arc to it. Hopefully that doesn't actually affect any pieces. You have your front grille, your steering wheel, your rear lights. They're just chromed all together. That's going to be a little sort of interesting to see, because now your reverse lights here are going to be chromed already. Your gauge cluster. This of course assembles in from the back of the dashboard. A random license plate. Makes me kind of wonder if this is, yes, I believe if you look at it here, assuming it'll focus, there's a little bit of like a tumbler to it. I think this might be the Get Smart license plate, where he could change his license plate number. You have your stock wheel covers, your bumper attachment points, air cleaner, valve covers, front and rear bumper, your side pipes, license plate blanks, and then we're getting into a bunch of little things here like exhaust tips. This is the shifter. That's the alternator. So, I mean, it's overall it's decent engraving. There's not a whole heck of a lot of flash on here, which is good because then you don't have the issue with the seams. We'll go around this side. Here's your side pipes, and then your front and rear bumpers. There's those things that hold the bumpers on there. The sprue attachment points, kind of chunky, but you might be able to get away with just touching that up with some paint if you can, although there are pretty good mold lines that run down, the sides of the bumpers where the molds come together. If you're going to go ahead and get your bumpers re-chromed on your 57 Del Rio Ranch wagon, it might be, worth the time and effort to snip these off and get them re-chromed at the same time. Again, I just wonder whether or not these bumpers are going to be warped, because to me, it's kind of maybe hard to see. You can see there's a giant warp to this. It was obviously just whipped out of the molds way too fast. And I think to me that back bumper has a curve to it that it shouldn't have. But I guess that's one of those assemble it and hope for the best kind of things, and hope that it's not too badly dinged up. This right here is your clear runner. I'm not going to take it out of the bag. It simply has your headlights and your front glass. Your front glass being just a U shape. I took it off the screen for a second so I can look at it. It seems to be pretty well molded. I don't see any distortions in it. Of course, the big thing here will be whether or not these side vents are long enough or deep enough, however you want to think about it, to actually fit in the molded in side window vents. Then you have your Bago tires. There are 2 sets. You have 4 great big ones for your road racing version, and then 4 lifesaver sized ones to do your stock. All of them have some pretty gnarly tread, dude. We'll just go ahead and grab a couple of them out of here rather than trying to focus the camera through the bag. These are your Goodyear Rally GTs. They do have sidewall detail there. So these are going to be your big tires for your optional wheel set, and then you have these smaller tires, which have pretty much the same tread pattern. These are let's see, what are we calling these? Michelin X tires. They don't seem to have a sidewall detail beyond that. It'd be nice to be focused, but I don't think it's gonna. There you go. So those are your Michelin X. Like I said, you got 4 each. That is so basically one width of a tire wider on the wider tires. You know what? They're old 60s, 70s AMT tires. I know a lot of people are complaining about, oh, look at them, tires are crap, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? They're also really old tires, and what do you want them to do? There's only a certain amount of stuff that Round 2 is going to do with these kits in terms of reissuing them, and creating new tires for every single model kit just isn't something that they're going to do. It's just not feasible. You're not going to get any reissues at that point. We got a bag of parts here. These are molded, like I said, in sort of a creamish color. Almost makes it look like resin, but it's not. This would be mostly custom pieces, I believe. These wheel backs might be the same wheel backs for the front and the rear, but obviously you've got your steering column right here, and then a set of the flares. I'm not sure if this is front or back. Your big deck spoiler, and then what may be the custom spring setup. This is just a really, really tall, oblong spoiler. I believe it's supposed to sit like this. So it's really something that's out there. It's not even on the display, on the box as far as the display goes. On the back side of your wheel mounts, you got some drum brake detail, which is actually pretty nice, considering the era. And then I'm assuming this will be your fronts. Or that may actually be your rears, because you have separate drum brakes for the rear. And then these are the fronts. On this here little chunk of runner, this of course will be more of your custom parts. These are, again, maybe your front flares, your front air dam, and the sort of Targa roll hoop. A little bit of flash on all of this stuff. It's nothing dramatically dramatic or terrible. That is just one awful looking front end. I get it. It's the era. It's the 70s. It's flare and roll, flare and put roll bars and big goofy front ends on everything. But no, stop it. I just don't think that looks good. Maybe you do. Hey, it's your model. You do with it what you will. This is a little parts runner here that has the dashboard and the seats and what looks to be a payphone. I think the original Maxwell Smart may have included the phone booth as a little side piece to the kit so that you could call and get into headquarters. Tiny, tiny little seats. And then the dashboard, I mean, there's not really a whole heck of a lot to talk about with the dashboard as far as the detailing goes. I mean, it was a pretty basic car, and that goes through with the way the dashboard looks. Like, I can't decide what else to focus on. What am I trying to look at here? It's such a tiny little dashboard. And then, yeah, you get a rotary payphone there. So there's a diorama piece right there for you would build like a 1950s garage. And then you have your parts runner here that has your engine and whatnot on it. This is really flashy. Two halves of the block, oil pan with a starter molded in. This is, of course, the bottom side of your intake manifold. Cylinder heads, exhaust, drum brakes for the back, distributor, fan, front cover carburetor, drive shaft, radiator hose, and your drive belts and whatnot. I'm trying to think. I think this might be the motor mount itself for the front suspension. As you can see, some of this stuff just has an acre and a half of flash attached to it. This is just because the molds aren't lining up right anymore. Everything on here is, whoops, jeez, almost busted the fan off just picking it up. Everything on here has a little bit of flash to a lot of flash. It's not an epic amount where this is unbuildable by any stretch of the imagination. Just not very clean. There's a whole halo of flash around this drive shaft. And then, of course, the most offensive part is these exhaust manifolds. And hey, look, there's a rooster tail of it right there off the off the top of the bell housing. But again, it's nothing that just going around it real quick with a knife or a file won't fix. I will say, although this secondary exhaust, this header on what would be your left is quite flashy, almost to the point of being flashed over in the area between the actual exhaust header horns. Let's see here. We got a cat knocking down an empty bottle of water in the background and freaking the hell out about it, I might add. And we got another little bag of little tiny, tiny runners. We have this here, which is going to have either the stock or the custom rear springs. This may actually be the custom because of how much altitude you're getting here. You got your spindles, your front spindles, your rear shocks, a set of springs. I assume it's a rear spring. The front half of the differential, the top, or well, should be the top of the differential. Another drive shaft. So I'm not sure which one of those you use. I think you might be using this one. This has your your mini light racing wheels, along with what I assume are their wheel backs. These are all universal wheel backs here. So taking a close-up look at the parts here. I mean, it's 1960s era tooling. It's not going to be spectacular by any stretch of the imagination, especially since this is sort of a secondary kit to the Get Smart Alpine or Sunbeam Alpine. There's a little unique story in that too, because the actual car on Get Smart was a Sunbeam Tiger, the one that you see driven up to the phone booth. However, they couldn't put the machine gun through the hood in a Sunbeam Tiger because of the larger V8 engine in it. So they had to use a Sunbeam Alpine dressed up to look like a Sunbeam Tiger. And that is what the kit ended up being, was the Sunbeam Alpine which actually has a 4-cylinder in it. So the Sunbeam Alpine, while sharing the majority of this kit's parts, does have a completely and totally different engine runner. So if you the problem there, of course, is that if you want a Sunbeam Alpine, they're about $150 on eBay because they're a one and done kit that's never been reissued. I'm not exactly sure there would be enough market to justify reissuing it either at this point. I mean, even if this kit sells really well, and assuming that the 4-cylinder engine runner still exists, they'd have to relicense it through Chrysler, I would imagine, because Chrysler bought Roots out, and technically, I think would be the owner of the well, I have to go look and see if they ever sold it again. But all right, so enough blathering on suspension pieces here and here. Here's another radiator hose. Might be the upper, might be the lower, or it's just a spare radiator hose for the 4-cylinder. One of the two is one of the situations where you got to check your parts numbers. Although this doesn't have a parts number attached to it. The radiator is certainly nothing to write home about, but I guess it is a radiator. This backside has some nice ejector pins smattered right into it, and that's the sight side because there's the hole for the hose. And then here are your sort of cross pipes that would lead into your side pipes. This piece right here has an acre of flash on it once again. It has your exhaust pipe. It has a dual pipe tip and something else here. This is your firewall. This is the front fascia, the rear fascia, the folded convertible seat. I don't know what the hell that is. It must be something else from the Get Smart kit. And then here are your headlight buckets here. But yeah, okay, so there's like a lot of flash on this. Some of these parts, again, not used. Some of these parts are probably from the Alpine kit. Halfway decent detailing on the firewall there. I mean, there's a lot of detail painting to do. If you don't paint the car black, you're going to have to paint the car, paint all of those, lines in there. And sometimes that's a terrible, terrible thing to see done because a lot of people can't do that very well. Lots of flash on these front parts here. A lot of flash on this convertible top as well. Flash, 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 Michelin molds, flash. I mean, this isn't a kit part, but seriously. And then this is the interior bucket with 40 acres and a mule worth of flash right there. Your single exhaust pipes. This is, I believe, supposed to be a dual exhaust car. I don't know what these are for. This might be the hood hinge. Nope, there's no room for a hood hinge, so I don't know what these are. There's no parts number to them, so that's helpful. I guess there's no parts number. There's no need to use it. I believe there used to be an AMT logo tooled right here. If you look there, it's something that has been completely and totally obliterated from the. There's a logo there. It's Leslie Matchbox or if it's AMT but somebody's logo got obliterated. This is your hood here. Probably need to sign about 1/16 of an inch of flash off the whole outside of that. The underside really not much to talk about as far as detail goes. And then this would be your interior bucket here. Okay, side panel details there. I mean, you got a door latch and a window. Wow, I always called it a window roller upper. That's right, folks. We give up. We're done. It's a window roller upper. You got a window crank on there. And then there's a set of pedals up there in the front. All very shallow as far as the engraving. But again, to have something that actually in this era would have a gas pedal, a brake pedal, clutch pedal, and then actually the button for the high beam and low beam switch. I mean, that's good detailing. It's not very, not very three-dimensional, but it's there. So I mean, there's that going on, and that'll bring us, guys. Just not hold on to my pointer. That'll bring us to the chassis and the body itself. Get the body out of here without breaking the windshield frame. There we go. First up is this itty bitty adorable little chassis. Oh, look at it. It's got some texture to it, so you got a little undercoat, underbody kind of thing going on there. Overall, it looks pretty good as far as the engraving detail goes. Again, it's one of those things where it's pretty good for the era. Your your inner fender wells are going to be all but non-existent as regards to looking down at them in the kit itself. The kit obviously it has no battery, it has no any accessories, it has no washer fluid bottle or anything else. Maybe the battery would mount in the trunk of this car, but because of how tight the under hood area is. But seriously, there's really like no detail to this whatsoever in regards to the under hood area of it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you won't see the underhood area of it. Let's see. I'm trying to see what this ends up looking like with this. Yeah, that's interesting. You end up with a hole back here where the chassis ceases to operate, and this cutout seems to be way too deep, so you're gonna be able to see into the underside of the trunk of your car pretty much. But I guess it is what it is in that sense. They're not, what can you say about that? And here is your body for the Sunbeam Tiger. Got a Tampo printed little thing reminding you this is a Round2 kit. It's made in China. Little, what do we got there? Yep, we're back over in the Dongguan Guangdong province of China. Overall, the body's smooth. The molds for the body seem to have stood up well. That maybe it's just an odd look because you never see the side. But those that side window there is awful short now. Yeah, doesn't seem like it's very deep. That just looks kind of weird. Here's your trunk engraving with some Sunbeam Alpine logos and some Sunbeam logos and a little actual car logo there. And then your front has a Sunbeam thing molded into the front there. If you want to focus on that, Mr. Camera, that would be fantastic. Well, trust me when I tell you, because camera doesn't want to cooperate. There is the word Sunbeam in itty bitty tiny letters right across the front here. Decal. That screams to be a decal because of how tiny those letters are. It's so small. Trying to do anything with that with bare metal foil, even the old gag of bare metal foiling it as a blob and then trying to cut the letters as close as possible, and then trying to then sand it off between every coat of paint and stuff like that. Tiny. Overall, the side engraving is there. There's a raised chrome band that goes out the side of the car, dumps into this Tiger logo that isn't going to focus because the camera is now just giving up on life. There it goes. And then a chrome thing goes down the side. All in all, seems to be pretty good detail. And there's another little Sunbeam Alpha or Sunbeam car logo back here. Mr. Camera, get control of your life, would you? There we go. On mold lines, you've got mold lines that come off the back of the convertible area and then run down the top of the rear fin. And then there's one that comes around and goes across the back of the trunk lid here, which is great because if you take a look at it, it runs right across the Sunbeam wording. Come on. I got Sunbeam line. Yeah. Trying to get something else to focus on other than the background. Yes, no, maybe so. Mr. Camera doesn't want to cooperate today. Mr. Camera's going on strike. He's like, you know what? You ain't paying me nearly enough. There you go. Runs right there, right below the letters, right above the little Alpine logo, or the Tiger wording. So that'll be fun to get off without obliterating everything. And then you have a one that comes out of the window post here and then runs down the top of the front fenders. That one would then circulate around the inside of where the headlight area will be, and then runs across the bottom there underneath those letters. So overall, not bad. I mean, it's as old as the kit is. It's still, pretty decent shape. The last time this kit was released, of course, would be the Blueprinter white box version. And that's been probably 20 years. So overall, the tool has, been okay. There's only been a few versions of this ever put out in the first place. The original issue, or a Lesney reissue that had the racing parts added to it after the Get Smart car, had its little go, because of course, like I said, the Get Smart car is pretty much the same thing. It may be that the reason why we can't get the Get Smart Alpine back is because the body has been tooled up to reflect the Tiger, striping and wording and things like that. And that may be why you cannot get this back as the Get Smart car, because the original Alpine logos and stuff like that have been taken off. That just sort of occurred to me here as I was sitting here, because these cars are effectively identical to one another, other than what the engine they had in it. So anyway, guys, that's a look at the Round 2 AMT Sunbeam Tiger reissue. It's pretty decent shape for what you get as far as the condition of the tooling and things like that. The racing options are all there if you're into the making a sort of weird period race car. You get a set of mini lights regardless. The tires, are what the tires are. Most people will probably want to replace them. However, they're the original tires that were in this kit, so it's not like they went out and threw bad tires in on purpose. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not going to do a good, bad, ugly here, because I don't think that's fair on a older kit that is just being reissued, because it's not new tooling, and you can't grade it on that sort of scale, because this is what it is entirely, because it's just a reissue of an old tool, and there's no there's no way to go and go, oh well, AMT Ertl didn't do this, AMT Ertl didn't do that. It has a good bit of flash on some of the runners, that being the one downside, but none of it seems to really be very bad flash, to the point where the kit's unbuildable or parts are unusable. And that's all I got to say about it. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys on the other side.